UFC Fight Night, Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos just took place, and I'm gonna give you my raw reaction to the whole fight card. So let's get into it. So the first fight of the night, we had Para Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes, and this basically it went the same way that the first fight went. Para Rodriguez controlled Sam Hughes in everywhere. And honestly, I thought that Para was gonna grapple more, but surprisingly, she didn't. She kept the fight on the feet for the most part and pieced up Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes had her moments, but it was few and far between. This fight was very easy for Para Rodriguez, and yeah, a good win for Para Rodriguez. It was to be expected because Sam Hughes is a garbage can. She's bottom of the barrel. So good on Para Rodriguez to get this dub, and yeah, we move on. Next up, in a fight that I was very intrigued watching, we had Luan Lacerda versus Hecher Sosa. Now, Hecher Sosa was able to get the dub. He won by decision unanimously, and this fight was very competitive. Lacerda had his moments at some points, and he tried to implement his grappling, but Hecher, was able to defend the takedown for the most part, circle out, and piece up Lacerda. In round one, Sosa came in with heavy pressure and did not let up on the gas tank. Lacerda, like I said, he had his moments. He pieced up Sosa sometimes, and honestly, he looked a lot bigger than Sosa did in the cage. Sosa looked small, very lanky, and Lacerda, looked big. And I thought that he was going to be able to muscle down Sosa, but he proved me wrong because Sosa was able to defend the takedown and just work on the feet. And that was the story of this fight. Sosa outstruck Lacerda on the feet, and whenever Lacerda did take Sosa down, Sosa was easily able to get back up. And whenever Sosa was taken down, he was able to just get back up and continue to weather the storm, beat up Lacerda, whatever. So yeah, Sosa's able to win this by decision. Good for him. And it shows us the level that he's on. He needs to work on his craft because, Lacerda, he's not top 15. He's not nowhere near top 15. He's an alright fighter. He's a good fighter. But Souza does have some improving to do. And that gas tank is kind of questionable, man, because in round three, he was kind of huffing and puffing. So, he needs to work on that. He's young in his career, man. He has a lot of time to work. So I'm not really too worried about it. Just, some things we got to keep an eye out. And yeah, I mean, if he fights tougher competition, um, most likely he's going to get beat because, there's gaps. There's gaps in his game. So it just depends on who the UFC matches him up with. But yeah, Sosa, wins this fight. Good for him. Got some things to improve, but I still like the guy. He's good. And yeah, we move on. Next up, in a fight that everyone had ending by submission, Bia Mosquita. This fight actually got a lot of people worried, including myself, because man, oh man. Bia Mosquito comes out striking and rocks Monse Rendon with a nasty overhand, right overhand, and rocks Monse. Monse tries to survive and she stands back up, but Mosquito throws a jab and it just wobbles Monse again. She falls against the cage, falls on the floor, and that's when Bia Mosquito just jumps on her and tries to get that ground and pound. And I know that so many of you guys were worried about that because a lot of people had Mosquito to win by submission. And yeah, I mean, she tried to hunt for that KO, but she didn't get it. During the exchange, Rendon tried to get up, and she made a mistake not protecting her neck, and that's when Mosquito jumped on that rear naked choke and got it fairly easily. It wasn't even locked in, for more than 5 seconds, and Rendon was already tapping. So good on Mosquito. It was to be expected. Monty's not really high level competition, so that like I said, that was to be expected. But Bia Mosquito, I mean, with that crazy stun slash knockdown, crazy. No one expected that, but good on her. Good to get that finish in the first round, and yeah, we move on. Next up, very controversial fight in my opinion. We have Brad Tavares versus Eric Anders. Man, where do I start with this? So round one, I have to give it to Brad Tavares. I think he's doing more work. He's kind of putting that pressure on Anders, and Anders can't really find his rhythm. And then come round two, Anders starts mixing it up, starts mixing up his grappling, his wrestling, and is able to take down Tavares at times. So, sometimes he's just holding him in the clinch against the fence and stuff like that. But, round 2 goes to Anders. And then come round 3, the winner takes it all. Um, Anders starts just holding down Tavares, and in my opinion, Tavares has the better moments on the feet. But when Anders was holding down Tavares, he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't looking for submissions or a ground and pound. He was just smothering him, just holding him down. I can't really say anything else. He was just literally holding him down, killing the clock, and to that, in my opinion, I feel like the fight should have gone to Brad Tavares because he did more damage. Yes, you're holding somebody down, but it's damage based scoring, and if you're just holding somebody down and the other guy's actually causing damage or just striking in general, and you're just holding someone down doing jack shit, that round should go to the guy that outstruck and caused damage, which in this case would be Brad Tavares. So, I mean, I'm not mad at it. This fight could have gone either way, honestly. And if you do implement the whole he held him down, then yes, Eric Anders did win. But I feel like Brad Tavares should have won this fight. But I mean, this fight doesn't really mean anything. No one, none of these guys are going anywhere, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, Eric Anders won this fight unanimously. Surprisingly, I think one of the judges gave it a 30-27. It was one of these fights. A judge gave somebody a 30-27 when it was like a 29-28. It might have been this one. I don't recall, but yeah, yeah. Eric Anders wins. So yeah. Next up, we have Balaji Oki versus Manuel Sosa. Now this fight was very, very good, man. Very good. What can I say? The prelims. All of the prelims were very, very entertaining. And like I said earlier, both of these guys had their moments. Balaji Oki, good head movement and rocked Manuel Souza and almost finished him. And so did Manuel Souza. Both guys almost finished each other. And only one guy was able to get the KO, and that was Manuel Souza. He got it in the round 3 with like a minute, maybe less than a minute to spare. And yeah, he was able to finish Balaji Oki. He hit him with the right hook, and then he was hurt, and I noticed he was hurt because his legs started wobbling, and a lot of people didn't notice that. But when he landed that jab and just sent Balaji Oki to the shadow realm to Ben Askren, I knew, man. I knew he was already hurt. I knew that one more good punch would lay him flat, and that's what happened. Manuel Souza was able to wrap it up, and good for him. I think in round 1 he was able to get the knockdown on Balaji Oki. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember what rounds it was. But Manuel Souza was able to get the knockdown in round 1, and then Balaji Oki Balaji Oki got the knockdown on Manuel Souza in round 2, and then it was 1-1, and the winner was gonna and then whoever won round 3 was gonna be the winner of the fight. But yeah, I mean, we didn't even have to go to the judges' scorecards because Manuel Souza was able to get it done. Good for him. And man, that's what a beautiful way to make a UFC debut. Most people lose their UFC debuts, and this guy just, I mean, even if he would have lost via decision, great show out. But he was able to get it done. He was able to get the job done via KO against a big name in Balaji Oki. And yeah, good for him. And what can I say, man? This guy's got good striking, good defense and defensive wrestling, and a good gas tank. Which is nothing to scoff at. Like I said, look at Hetcher. He also made his UFC debut, and his gas tank was kind of questionable. So Manuel Souza looks like the perfect package as of right now. Balaji Oki isn't really top level. You know what I mean? But Manuel Souza looks good, and yeah, we move up. All right, guys. We have Elijah Smith versus Su Young Yu. Now, this was another crazy fight. Elijah Smith literally stuffed every single takedown that Su Young Yu, put out there, man. Elijah Smith, man, he looks so good out there. And, both fighters were undefeated in the UFC. I mean, I think Elijah also made his debut. I think because there was 3 fighters that made their debut. So, no. Scratch that. He didn't. It was Steven Asplund. He was the other one. But yeah, both fighters were undefeated in the UFC, and Elijah Smith beats Su Young Yu in his own game, man. he literally submitted him because Elijah Smith threw a big overhand that rocked Su Young Yu, and he hopped on Su Young Yu like on full mount or something like that. I don't remember. And he started throwing ground and pound, looking for that KO, TKO, and it didn't come. Man, he did look for it. He was trying to finish that fight, and then Su Yung got sloppy. I think it was because he was rocked. You're not really all there when you're dazed, and he tried to get up, and Elijah Smith just took advantage and got the sub, and on a very high level grappler. So surprising, man. You beat the guy in his own game. Good for you. Good show out because Su Young Yu is a good prospect in the Asian market. So good for Elijah Smith. Really shows what level he's on. And yeah, good for him. Moving up. This is the fight I was talking about. So this is the third debut of the fight or of the card. Sorry, Steven Asplund versus Vitor Petrino, and man, this fight was really entertaining for being a heavyweight clash. Both fighters gave it their all. Round one, Steven Asplund rocks Vitor Petrino, bro. Crazy, crazy. He almost got the job done, but Vitor Petrino also cut up Steven Asplund's I think it was right cheek or something like that, and that was the story of the fight, man. He cut it in round one, and then during the whole fight, it got bigger, bigger, and at the end of the fight, Steven Asplund's whole face was bloody, man. It was a wreck. Um, but you gotta give props where they're due, and Steven Asplund deserves a lot of props. This guy, he was gassed, obviously, and he didn't give up on himself. He kept on pushing, and was able to get another knockdown slash stun on Vitor Petrino. He got like two or three of them, and it's crazy, man. He could. I hate to say it, but if he really pushed the pace a little bit more, he could have got the job done. He could have gotten Vitor out of there, and that would have been crazy because Vitor's. I mean, we all know he's bummy. Um, in this fight, he looked amazing though. But and we all know he's bummy, but he's a big name. And if Steven Asplund was able to get it done, that would have been amazing. But Vitor Petrino pulled it out of the fire. He looked, like I said, he looked good in this fight. He looked really good. Typically he gasses in the third. He loses round threes, and in this fight he obviously won round three. He looked really good. A lot better than most of his showings, and maybe he's improving, man. Maybe he's improving. We'll see. I mean, Steven Asplund, he's a UFC debut. You can look amazing against a debut guy. You can look amazing against a bum. So we'll see in Vitor's next fight how good he really is, or if he's even improved. Because, like I said, Steven Asplund is a debut. So we shall see. It is to be determined, but good for Vitor Petrino. And I think that this fight should get a performance bonus. Both guys should get a bonus. This fight was really good. And yeah, next up, the main event of the prelims. We have Chris Curtis versus Metabek Orobai. Man, I know a lot of people are gonna say this, just like they said last week against Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. Boring fight. He's a crotch sniffer, this and that. You Was it the most entertaining fight? No, I'll agree with you. No, it was not. But you got to appreciate how you're able to control and dominate somebody in something that you should be good at as well. And that was the case. I mean, it's MMA, right? You should be good at takedown defense. And Matabek Orobai just obliterated Chris Curtis. And another thing, Metabek Orobai didn't just hold Chris Curtis down. He was looking for, ground and pound submissions. He was working. And I don't know, man. I know people are gonna, hate on this fight. I can't. Like I said, was it the most entertaining fight? No, it wasn't. And it's crazy to see that on Orobai's side, just because he's not even a welterweight. I think he even broke a record in this fight. Most takedowns landed in welterweight history. I think, this is all top of my head. But he broke a record in a weight class that he doesn't even belong in, which is insanity, man. But Yeah, good for Orobai, man. I mean, I'm a big fan of Orobai. I like the guy. But yeah, I mean, good on him. Chris Curtis, I don't know where he goes from here, man. It's tough. It's tough because I think he's 38 years old, tail end of his career, different weight class, and he couldn't stuff a takedown to save his life. So, most likely his next opponent's gonna just wrestle with him, grapple with him. So we'll see. We'll see where he goes. But good on Matabek Orobai. Call me a casual if you want, but I don't know if he's did this because I don't know why they moved to welterweight. I don't know if Matabek Orobai is gonna stay at welterweight. Don't know, but yeah, good for him. I don't know where he's gonna be fighting, what weight class. But I'm just happy he won. Good for him. And yeah, we move on a fight, a very interesting fight. Charles Johnson versus Bruno Silva. Now, Charles Johnson was able to get the dub, split decision. This fight could have gone either way, in my opinion. Not too mad, at the decision. Not too mad at the winner. But yeah, in round one, Charles Johnson's just very tentative. Um, and I think a lot of that stems because he got knocked out in his last fight. In a fight that he was winning against Alex Perez. He was winning that fight clearly, and then one punch changes the outcome of a whole fight. And most fighters, that can get into your head, and that can make you gun shy and not throw as much. And I think that kind of played a factor in the beginning because Charles Johnson, he lost round one against Silva, and then when they went to their corners, Charles Johnson's coach told him, "Hey man, let it go. Feel the rhythm, and you're gonna land." And that's exactly what happened. Round two, Charles Johnson comes out and starts feeling himself, starts getting into a flow, getting into a rhythm, and round two goes to Charles Johnson. Same situation. Then round three, um, Bruno Silva's trying to grapple wrestle a little bit more. Well, I mean, even earlier in the fight, but more in this round. And Charles Johnson's able to just defend a takedown, piece him up. And Bruno Silva had his moments. The fight could have gone either way, man. If Bruno Silva won this fight, I wouldn't be mad. And if Charles Johnson won the fight, which he did, I would not be mad. This fight could have gone either way, and Charles Johnson just got the sway. So good for him. I kind of I thought he was my pick, so happy for that too. Did pretty good on this card, and yeah, um, he called out, who did he call out? He called out Asuel Mabayev, and he was saying that he knocked out Loner Kavanaugh, that's like ranked 6 now or something like that, and he knocked out the champion Joshua Van. So he wants like someone in the top 5, top 7, something like that, and he wants to fight Asuel Mabayev, which is reasonable, man, because the UFC's been feeding this guy killers prospects, and they haven't been like trying to grow him into the rankings. So I feel like, I mean, he's done a lot of favors for the UFC. The UFC doesn't really tend to give favors back to you, but I think in this case you do have to give Charles Johnson a top 5 guy. Um, and the flyweight division's getting interesting. We have Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira coming up. Alejandro Pantoja is going to be fighting here pretty soon. The winner of that fight. And I mean, we got to get this division moving. So very interesting, very interesting. Charles Johnson wins this. Hopefully, gets someone in the top 5. And yeah, we move on. Next fight. And somebody that I told you guys, if you guys paid attention, I told you guys, the pick was Umar Sy, but this guy's not to be trusted. And that's literally what happened, man. Ian Cutelaba, I'm happy for him, bro. I'm happy that he got this dub. Good for him. And he's playing a lot smarter and safer now. We all knew him as the crazy guy, the guy that would just slug it out, bum rush you, and live by the sword, die by the sword. And he's being more technical, a lot smarter, and good for him, man. He was able to get the submission win in round one against Omar Sy, and man, amazing, bro. And I think I think this one was the one where he didn't even lock it in, and Sy was already tapping. You know, what can you say, man? What can you say? Typical Frenchie. No offense to my French fans out there, but typical Frenchie, bro. Just fucking waving the white flag. Crazy, bro, but good for Ian Cutelaba. Let's see him fight someone in the top 15, man. Don't rush this guy, bro. Do not rush him. Give him like someone in between like 13 to 15, around there. But yeah, good for him. I'm happy that he won. And all I gotta say is, don't trust Umar Sy, man. Not to be trusted, bro. This guy, you losing to Alonzo Menafield, bro. Bum. Couldn't be me, bro. Trust could not be me. Moving on. We have Marwan Rahiki. Now, this fight was interesting, bro. I said that Harry Hardwick's no one to scoff at. That he had a chance in this fight, and man, this guy's a fucking dog, bro. He got he got he got hit with some of the worst hooks, punches, overhands, everything, bro. Everything in between, and this guy survived, bro. This guy survived somehow. Don't know how. And I think, by the way, Marwan Rahiki won by KO in round two. You know, that's what the stats say. But Hardwick gave up the fight just because he broke his chin. So not really KO TKO, but you know, just doctor stoppage basically. But yeah, man. I mean, if Harry Hardwick did not break his chin, we would have seen a round three, and that fight could have gone either way, man. Because yes, Rahiki did land some nasty shots on Hardwick, but dude, Hardwick literally stunned, and I think he even got a knockdown on Rahiki like twice. Um, and you know, Hardwick had his moments, and he could have finished the fight as well. So it's crazy, man. If this fight would have gone to round three, could have gone either way, and most likely it would have been 2-0 Rahiki. So you know that Hardwick would have came with with the fire, knowing that he needed to finish. So crazy way, man. Crazy way to end the fight. You know, Hardwick. Pulling out the towel, but you can't really blame him, man. You have a broken jaw. You have a broken jaw, so it's reasonable. Good for him. I hope the UFC doesn't cut him because they've been doing some weird moves recently. So let's keep Harry Hardwick. He's gonna be out for a long time. I don't know how long a jaw injury takes, but he's going to be out for a little bit, so let's just keep him. And Rahiki, I think if he fights better competition, he will get knocked out because this guy does not have a chin. Does not have a chin. But, oh, and then his gassing is kind of questionable too because during like mid round two, he was kind of gassing, so who knows? But this guy, I mean, he's young. I think he's like 8-0 now, so he's young. He can improve, but there's holes in his game. So yeah, but Rahiki's able to get the KO TKO, so there's a bonus, and yeah, good for him. Moving up into the card in another controversial fight, um, Andre Fili versus Jose Delgado. Now Jose Delgado is able to get the dub in a split decision win. Um, where do I start, man? Where do I start? Um, I think I'm gonna start with this. I think Andre Fili won this fight. Um, I'm not gonna call it a robbery. I can't call it a robbery. It wasn't a robbery, man. I can see how Jose Delgado won. I can see how he won, but if I had to put, like, if I had 10 points and I had to put 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, I'd put more points in Andre Fili than I would Jose Delgado in round three because obviously it was 1-1. In round one, Andre Fili looked amazing. He even got a check hook on Delgado that knocked Delgado down on his feet and had him thinking, "Oh shit, this is not an easy fight." Um, so yeah, round one definitely went to Andre Fili. Um, oh, this is the fight that went 30-27. Now I'm remembering, but yeah, he knocked down Andre Fili in round one. Got round one, obviously. Come round two, Jose Delgado gets in his rhythm, feeling good, starts throwing and landing, and obviously round two for Delgado. Come round three, either fighter can win. Um, Andre Fili's just landing more, man. He's putting on the pressure, got like two or three takedowns, landed more. In my opinion, the stats say differently, but I don't know how Delgado landed more. Doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, in my opinion, Andre Fili landed more. I mean, he was a more active fighter, man, in that third round. Um, I thought it was a clear round three Philly round, but they did my boy dirty. They give the fight to Delgado, and I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. What is crazy though, the judging in this whole scorecard. Some of the fights were kind of iffy, scoring wise, and so was this one. One of the judges, I don't remember who, but one of them gave Delgado a 30-27, which is insanity. It's crazy. Like, did Homeboy not watch round one? Cause obviously Philly won because he knocked down Delgado with a nasty hook. But yeah, crazy card or crazy scorecard, 30-27. I don't understand that, but yeah, I mean, like I said, am I mad that Jose Delgado won? No, this fight could have gone either way. Not a robbery, but if I was a judge, I would have given this fight to Philly. So it is what it is. Um, I don't know where Philly goes from here. Kind of in a limbo, to be honest. And Jose Delgado, it shows us who he really is, man. We thought this guy was gonna be a world beater, and he got chinned by Philly, bro. It's crazy. So yeah, Jose Delgado is able to win via decision, and yeah, we move on to the co-main event. Co-main event: Amanda Lemos versus Jillian Robertson. A lot of these fights were depending on round three, and so was this one. Amanda Lemos, round one, comes out striking. We all knew that was the game plan. And Jillian Robertson, surprisingly, is willing to strike. But we saw that Amanda Lemos was years above Jillian Roberts striking. She outstruck her in every facet. And that's when Jillian Roberts, you know, turned it on. She said, no, I'm not going to win this fight on the feet. And I got to take her down. And then come round two. So obviously round one goes to Lemos. Then come round two. Jillian Robertson is kind of looking for that takedown. We know that her wrestling isn't really all there. She's really good at grappling, but her wrestling kind of questionable. But she's able to get the takedown and hold Lemos down. And she's looking for position, throwing some ground and pound. Obviously wins round two. Then round three, like I said, like I'm saying in this whole fight night card, winner takes it all. And Jillian Robertson, they kind of play around with the being on the feet, but Robertson's able to get that takedown. And honestly, I'm gonna be brutally honest. Robertson just held her down on the floor, man. She did what she had to do to win this fight. And yeah, I mean, she won via unanimous decision, 29-28. But yeah, I mean, she's not gonna beat anyone in the. I mean, I was gonna say she's not gonna beat anyone in the top five, but Amanda Lemos is top five. But you guys know what I mean. She's not gonna be champion, man. Um, you're not championship material if you're winning that way, just holding someone down. And most of these women, I would say in the top three, are not gonna be. They're not gonna let themselves get held down. So Jillian Robertson's able to get this done. Probably moves to like maybe top five, number four in the division, and is looking for a top three position. And if she wins that fight, which I highly doubt, she's gonna fight for a belt. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And Amanda Lemos ended. I mean, it's been the end of her career for the past couple years now. She's 36, I think. Not really going anywhere. Kind of the stepping stone of the strawweight division. So most likely she's going to get another prospect, another raging contender. And yeah, good for Jillian Robertson to get this dub. Don't see her winning her next fight. But yeah, we move on to the main event of the evening. Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. In something I didn't expect to happen. Kevin Vallejos knocks out Josh Emmett in round one. Insanity. So he stunned him and knocked him down 3 times, I believe, if I remember correctly, including the finish, right? And crazy. I mean, the first knockdown, honestly, I was like, that's not a knockdown. I think he just slipped. Man, oh man. I mean, it was like a 3-minute fight. So we watched it. Knockdown, bro. It was a knockdown. Kevin Vallejos' power. Insanity. So someone was telling me that Kevin Vallejos reminds him of Josh Emmett when he was younger, and can't argue there, man. Cannot argue there. Kevin Vallejos, coming with big power, Josh Emmett was on a nasty streak earlier in his career with just KO after KO after KO after KO. And Vallejos KO's the KO artist. Insanity, man, in round one. Um, Good on Herb Dean. He gave Josh Emmett, a fighting chance. In a position where I would have if I was Herb Dean, I would have stopped the fight because he fell to the ground, right? He stood back up. He looked fine. But when he threw that big overhand that missed, he like stumbled and he didn't know where he was at, obviously. And if I was Herb Dean, I would have stopped the fight right there. But he let it continue. Kevin Vallejos hit some nasty punches, threw an elbow in there, threw some elbows to the body, and that's when Herb Dean seen enough, called the fight. But can't complain. It wasn't a late stoppage by any means. Herb Dean did what he had to do, gave Josh Emmett a fighting chance. It was just too much, bro. Too much for Josh Emmett. He had too much damage on him, and yeah. Kevin Vallejos able to get that KO. They ask him who he wants to fight next. He says that he doesn't really have a name, just wants to move up into the division, and he's happy that he doesn't come out the fight with any serious injuries. So good for him. He said that Argentina is going to see a champion. Don't know about that. I don't know about that. Featherweight stacked. Lerone Murphy, Officer Evloev, so on and so forth. So yeah, I don't know about that, but good for him. Crazy how you're able to beat someone at their own game, aka Elijah Smith, knocking out the KO artist. So yeah, those were my thoughts and whole raw reaction to the whole fight card, UFC Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. Oh yeah, one thing I want to say before I let you guys go. I want to complain a little bit. Give me like 2 minutes, man. Paramount. I'm kind of missing ESPN. Not gonna lie. Paramount last week during round 3 of Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. We missed all of round 3 because screens went black or blue, and that's crazy, man. How you can just miss a whole round in a crazy fight like that, where anything can happen. You miss all that, and then this week, I don't remember what fight it was, but I think it was for a round, maybe 2 rounds. We missed the audio. Everything was muted. Obviously, besides the commercials, we can hear the commercials loud as day. But when it comes into the live broadcast, we're missing all the audio. I don't know, just something I wanted to rant about because I didn't, put it in my last video. And, it was a fuck up and another fuck up this week. We'll see. We'll see what happens next week. Hopefully nothing, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. So yeah, those were my thoughts and raw reaction of the whole fight card, Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. And yeah, until next time.